Hold up.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little tour of the analytics section of your Pinterest account. So we're inside my account, which is quite embarrassing because I haven't pinned in about 2 weeks, so all my figures have gone down. But this is a general overview of what your Pinterest account will look like once you start generating activity, and once you've confirmed your website. You see on the right hand side, I've got statistics based on a number of people who have visited my site from my pins. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go from the first section here, which is your Pinterest profile. So this gives you an indication of the type of people that are interacting with your pin, with your profile. So this is the average daily impressions. So this is the average amount of people that are viewing pins from my profile per day. It doesn't necessarily mean that these are people that have actually engaged with my pins. It's just how many people are viewing the pins. So this will be things most probably from their feed. Okay, so as you can see here, it's telling you that my daily views has gone down by 2.77%. As you go down, you'll be able to see the pins that have the top impressions from your profile per day. So these pins here are the pins that I've pinned, but they're not my pins. So your goal would be to try and make sure that the pins that are getting the most impressions from your profile are your pins. So it will show me the top 5. You can click show more to see more. So it will tell you how many people have laid eyes on it, how many people have clicked through to the website, and how many people has saved the pin. So this is a popular pin on my profile. Okay, so then you can also see the boards with the top pin impressions. So these are the boards that have the most people looking at them. So you can see here that my journaling board is the most popular board on my profile, and it has 34 clicks, and it has 191 saves. And then we can see the second most popular is my branding and design board, which has had 100 clicks and 36 saves. So the clicks would be the amount of people that have clicked from the pin onto the website, and the saves is how many people have saved the pin from my profile to their profile. Okay, so you can look at saves, and it will tell you the pins that have been saved the most again. So this is giving you more greater deal. So it says here in this week the average daily saves is 17. And the average daily people saving is 15. So somebody there might have saved a couple. Again, what you want to be looking at here is if any of your boards or your pins have come up in the top 5. Because I haven't been pinning, my board normally comes up number 1 for the top board with pins being saved, but again, with no pinning activity, that's reduced. So when you're looking at these, you want to be looking at whether your pins or boards are coming up in the top 5. That's the main statistic that I would be looking at here. And you can see here, you can change the dates. So you can see if you want to compare previous dates, you can do that here. At the moment, it's only going to show you the last 2 weeks. You can dig deeper, and you can see the boards that have given you the most clicks. As you can see, it will tell you that this is the pin that's had the most clicks for me over the past 2 weeks. And again, it's come from the branding and design board, most probably. And it's telling you here again the average daily clicks and the average daily visits. Then you can see here the top boards, the top pins of all time. I can see that 2 of my pins are there for the pins that have been saved. 3 of my pins are there, sorry. Okay, then you can also see the pins that rank the highest in the search from my profile, and then you can see the pins that have a high mixture of saves and clicks. So you can use this information to see which type of content people are are interacting with most on your website, and giving them more of that content, because you've got successful pins here that are doing well. So you can have a look at the pins, see what's making them do so well, and try and emulate it when you're creating more content going forward. So let's look at people you reach. Okay, so this is just telling you the amount of people that are engaging with your pins across Pinterest. So Pinterest gives you the information based on the country, the state, the language they speak, and the gender. So you can see here that my gender mix is very disproportionate. 44,000 are females, 4,000 are male. Now that's not very it's not unusual, because females are using Pinterest more than men are, but I know that is changing. So I like to keep an eye on this. This gives me ideas when I'm creating pins. So if I know maybe mostly females looking at my pins, I may make them more feminine, because that's my greatest audience. I know if I look at language, that majority of my audience speaks English, so I know that it's best to make sure my pins remain in English. Now we've got to understand that not everybody that uses Pinterest is from a country that speaks mainly English. This is why it's really good to have a look at this information. You might be serving customers where their main audience is not English, so this is something that you should definitely pay attention to. And then Pinterest will give you an indication of the type of things that your audience are into. Now personally for me, I find this a bit flawed, because with the interests, it more or less lists if I go click on show more, a lot of the times it more or less lists so many interests. It's kind of hard to determine which one is the most important. But then again, you can use these interests to target people that are more than likely to engage with your content. So maybe it means making more pins with beauty related images, or making more pins with quotes, because you know your audience will engage with these type of things. Then it will also tell you the type of your boards that have a lot of your pins. So I know that people are coming into my website, on my profile, or they're engaging with my content on somebody else's profile, and these are the boards that have a high number of the pins from my profile. You also get a good indication of the type of businesses that your audience engages with. This is it's a good idea to have a look at their content on these websites, because you can have an idea of the type of content you can be creating for your Pinterest profile to ensure that you get more engagement. So sometimes I just click on them and I have a look at the type of content that they're sharing, and I see if any of these type of contents relate to my business, and I pin onto my profile. Okay, so that is more or less the people that I reach. And if you go to the top, you can also segment your audience based on the device they're using. So potentially you may be somebody who is developing an app and you're trying to reach a greater audience on Pinterest. So you may be interested in seeing what the demographic of iPhone users looks like, and the information will be it will be edited to reflect that for you. And then you can look at your follows as well. This is something that I will show you later on. But you can look at once you have that meta tag, you can also add a conversion tracking code onto your website, which can track how users engage with your audience. Now, because I haven't been pinning much, I don't really have many people engaging in my website, but when I start pinning again, this number will go up, and then I'll get a good indication of how people are engaging my website. And it helps me with targeting more suitable content to my specific audience. And then we look at websites. So this is how people are engaging with my website, and it will tell you the type of content that's doing well from my site. So it tells you that my pins that have the top pin impressions, how many clicks and how many saves it's received in the last 2 weeks. The boards that have most of my pins, of course my domain board would have a lot of my pins. And then of course it will tell you So this, if it's got an R, it just tells you that it's a rich pin. If it doesn't have an R, it's not a rich pin. And if I had promoted this pin, you would see a P next to it as well to say, yep, this pin has been promoted. Now, if I click on saves, it would tell me the pins that have received the most saves from my domain pins. Okay, and it tell you the boards that have the most saves as well. And if I click on clicks, it will also tell you the pins that have the most clicks and the boards that have my pins that have received the most clicks. And then this will show you original pins. So these are pins that have come directly from my website. So these are potentially people pinning from my website or me pinning from my website. However, I don't generally pin from my website. I upload it directly onto Pinterest. So these are what other people are pinning. Then you can also see your top pins of all times. So these are the pins that have received the most saves. So the most saves, the pins that are rank high in search, and the pins that have a good mixture of saves and clicks. So this also tells you the content that's doing the best from your website on Pinterest. And it also helps you determine how you can better create content to help engage with more people on Pinterest. So I generally set aside time every week to look at these statistics. I decide which statistics are important to me, and I keep an eye on them every week or 2 weeks, and I create a strategy based on these statistics, which is something I will talk about later as well.